Hello and welcome back to OmniFoot TV for our second video of the day. The topic at hand is Manchester United and more so about Erik Ten Hag. Now, Ten Hag and Jadon Sancho have seemingly fallen out, and I've had a couple of points just swimming around in my head that I've wanted to make. Bearing in mind that Sancho reacted publicly to the statements that Ten Hag made, the first thing that came to mind was, if this were Sir Alex talking about a player who wasn't performing in training, or talking about a player in any kind of context, and that player would end up reacting publicly to anything he had to say, that player would never see the light of day for Man United ever again. Let's just be clear on that. Times have changed. Professionalism has seemingly developed different boundaries, and I don't know what it is, but I have seen people split right down the middle in regards to Ten Hag's man management, especially scrutinizing his relationship with Cristiano Ronaldo before the fallout happened. And now we see this happening with Jadon Sancho. People seem to think that this is good, the fact that he has separated the player from training with the entirety of the squad until further notice for disciplinary measures or enacting disciplinary measures. Whereas other people think that Ten Hag is delusional, to say the least, and that Sancho is correct or was correct to respond publicly. I personally don't agree with the fact that he ended up responding publicly. I don't think this is the right move. I do believe that this will add much more drama. It'll jeopardize the image of the club, jeopardize the image of the manager and the rest of the squad. Whether or not you think that you have a point and the manager is wrong is just meaningless in this context. It is meaningless in this context because it is not just about you. Players are under enough scrutiny. Meme culture has gone haywire. And we live in an era where everything is under the microscope. Whether you think that to behave in a certain way is correct, especially when addressing someone who is your superior, bearing in mind that they are wrong, and you have a way of thinking or a way of doing things, and you know you could be right objectively, is still of no consequence. You have no right to go public with anything of this nature. This is schoolboy behavior. And personally, that's what I think. Because no player is bigger than the manager, and no player should end up taking a shot at the manager in public. I firmly believe that even if you disagree with the man, even if you think he's full of it, if you disagree with his tactical approach, if you think his communication skills are off and his man management skills are weak, then you should only address that privately. Because it puts you in jeopardy and it puts him in jeopardy. And the fact that people are actually arguing about this is strange to me. Sure, it's good for the media, it's good for the hype, it's good for the views, it's good for the content. It's good that people think that this is journalism. It's worth writing about, it's worth talking about. Of course it is. That's the whole point. That is the whole point of anyone having to decide to make such a decision. But at the same time, it is not professional. Clubs make statements. Managers make statements. In that order. Players coming out to make statements regarding anything the managers have said in their regard in the midst of a crisis, if you can call it a crisis, throws gasoline onto the fire. It is inappropriate, no matter how appropriately written the statement is, or how well trained the player is in regards to PR. It still makes no sense for him to have done this. And I think that he is bearing the weight of the consequences. Like, seriously, what did he think Ten Hag was going to do? How do you walk into training after doing something like that? And what do you expect from the manager to do? I doubt he's just going to say good morning and go along with things as they were. Being a manager is considerably a lonely job. You're blamed all the time. You're bad talked all the time. People have constant criticism lined up for you. If a player does badly, it's his fault. But if a player does well, it's the manager's fault. Or the manager gets the praise. That's how it used to be. Nowadays, it's not even like that to the fullest degree. Things are different. Times have changed. Principles have changed. Professionalism has become muddied in a way. And I don't agree with how modern footballers look at themselves and how they see the game. That's just me. But this kind of thing can't stand. No matter who you side with, even if you hate the manager, even if you despise Ten Hag as a United fan or a neutral, you shouldn't do that. That's all I wanted to say on this topic. And I don't really know when we'll see Jadon Sancho play for United again. Unless he just, goes up to the man and apologizes to him. That's even going to work. Like I said, whatever you think of him, even if you're right, you can't go and do something like this. It's one thing for a fan to criticize. It's a whole other thing for a player who you're supposed to be training to back, to push forward, even if he doesn't like you, even if he's the one being unprofessional. It's still not right to do that because you give him something to hold against you. That flips the dynamic and it makes things harder for you. And that's all I have to say on this topic. If you like what I've said, or disagree even, the comment section is open for discourse. Like the video if you haven't. Hit the bell notifications button because we post content on a daily basis, or at least we're going to go back to doing that here. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I will see you all next time the whistle blows.